Hi. Whenever my dad died, my whole life changed. He was my best friend. Even though we didn't really talk all that much, he was still my best friend. We were home together all the time. When he wasn't working, I would sleep there, that was my home. He was there, I was there. Regardless of us hardly seeing each other, he was there when I slept. He was there when I woke up. And the little time that we saw each other, we just were best friends. And I loved my dad so much. My dad was all I had. And my biggest fear in life was losing my dad. Because I thought, what could happen if I lose my dad? Who will I have? I was only 18 or 19, and I thought, if my dad ever died, I have nobody to take care of me. I have nobody to teach me anything. Nobody to drive me to the doctor if I needed help, or, I'm sure I had some friends, but every time I'd move, it was hard to make new friends. And I had such a fear of my dad dying that if he was next to a gas pump, and he'd have a cigarette, I would be afraid and imagine him blowing up and dying, and it would scare me, and I'd tell him to put it out, and he would. Or even if we went roller skating, I was so afraid of losing my dad that I didn't want him to get hurt, that I couldn't even watch him roller skate. Because I thought, if he fell and he'd hurt himself, what am I going to do? I was such in bondage to this fear. And I just loved my dad so much. And when he died, it was like a reality check. As I started to question myself, did I love him as much as I said I did? I thought I did. And did I spend time with him like I should have? Did I lie to my dad? Did I sneak out of the house? Did I disrespect my dad, And I just thought, my dad's gone, and Satan doesn't want you to grieve. He wants you to just get over it, be strong, move on. So he'll send you all types of distractions to make you just forget about it. Continue on with your life, go back to work, blah, blah, blah. And so all I did from that day on is I just started smoking more weed than ever, doing more things than ever, going more places than ever, as long as I couldn't think. I used to say staying busy is my therapy. Because when you're busy, you're not thinking. When you're doing something, you're focused on that thing you're doing. Especially if it's fun. And so I remember the first day I went to sleep with my dad not being there. I woke up and I woke up and it was like I forgot. It's like I just forgot my dad died. And I woke up and I just got up for maybe 30 minutes. And I walked around my house and I realized, oh yeah, my dad died. And I would just start crying. I was like, oh yeah, my dad's gone. It's so hard to move on knowing that someone you love is gone. You can no longer see them. You can no longer call them. That's it. They're just gone. You can't say, oh yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. You can't say, I'll make plans next week. You can't. There is no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. There's no next week. There's only now. And when I realized this, and my whole world was thrown upside down, and I realized I didn't love my dad as much as I thought I did, or else I would have spent more time with him. I would have talked with my dad and asked him to tell me about his life. Tell me about his experiences he went through. Tell me about the pains he went through. Tell me about how hard it was having me and my brother as a child, asking him these things. You know, I always just went to sleep thinking that tomorrow was going to exist. And it doesn't. Living like tomorrow doesn't exist is the best way you can ever live. And now that I know this, I want to strive for that. But after my dad died, I decided to live life to the fullest. But it was in the wrong way. It was in the way of, I'm going to do everything I possibly can while I'm on earth. You know, and I did say I wanted to love more. I said I'm going to love more. But the way I was loving wasn't even the right way of love. Some of it may have been. Not all of it was vain. But I just wanted to spend time on people. So I would go visit people and friends and spend time on them. Because I thought, you know, they're going to die one day, so I want to see them as much as possible. So instead of me grieving and receiving healing from Jesus, I just masked all the pain and hurt with traveling and going to hear about other people's lives and other people's pain. And for a bit I did this. But deep down inside I was living in regret. I was living like I needed to prove myself to my dad that I'm going to be a good kid now. And I was living life for my dad even though he was not around. I thought I wanted to make my dad happy, which was wrong. I need to make God happy, but I thought I wanted to make my dad happy. But I lived in such regret for all the wrong I committed against him, all the sins that I committed against my dad, and now he's not around. I can't love him the way he deserved to be loved, that I felt like I needed to make it up. So everything I did in my life, I thought I was doing for my dad. And it's like it was all pointless because he's not around. I might never see him again. And depending on if his heart was right with Jesus the very moment he died, he may not have entered heaven. And I don't know if my dad's in heaven or hell. I don't know. We're not to know. But that's what's even more frightening is knowing that you'll never see someone again. I know my dad's life didn't line up with the law of love in many areas because he didn't know. My dad lived in pain, but he always tried to do the right thing, but he didn't exactly know. So I don't know if my dad's in with Jesus or not because I don't know. And so for sure knowing that I might not ever see my dad is a sad thing because we actually could see our relatives again. If they obeyed Jesus and they're fit for his kingdom, and then we were too, we could see our relatives again. Most people say, my dad's in heaven with my grandma and my uncle and my aunt. And I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see them. And that's a very scary thing to say because you don't know if they're there. You don't know. Not everyone goes there, even if they looked like they lived a good life. And we should be looking forward to Jesus, not we want to go to heaven to see our parents. We don't know if they're there. Everyone would always tell me, your dad's in a better place now, Kelly. It's okay. Your dad's in a better place now. He's not in pain. He's not suffering from this world. He's at peace now, Kelly. And that's a lie. That's flattery. Because they don't know where my dad is right now. Only God knows. They don't know. And to tell people this is very deceiving, just to comfort someone. There's no source of comfort when you're grieving over someone except God's comfort. And if my dad, they say, he's not suffering anymore, he left this evil world. Yeah, but if he left this world and went to hell, then he's suffering worse. So people need to realize that before they say those things, that they don't know. And they'll be accountable for those things they spoke to someone just to flatter someone. And that's why funerals are lies. Funerals are not good in the eyes of God, the way that they're held and the way that they are. Of course, you're supposed to bury people, but not the way that the systematic funerals are now. How a preacher gets in front of the people and preaches a sermon, how, we're going to miss this dear beloved man, he was a good man, and those may be true, he may have been a good man, but if he wasn't a righteous or holy man, it doesn't matter. So when a preacher gets up front and preaches all these things to comfort the family who's weeping and mourning, instead of leading people to God for comfort and healing, the preacher just lies and says this person has passed on to heaven and they're in peace now, and then they play a sad song and a joyful song to make everyone feel good, and then they get some type of relief, and then they go home and they never received the healing that they needed healed from. Not even the truth about what happened to that person that died. So I put my love and as this was like my best friend, and my dad became an idol in my life. Idolatry. God is a jealous God, and he's a father. We should love no one more than him. So when my dad died and was taken from me, it made me really wonder what was important. And the truth to life, wanting to seek the truth. Why is my dad dead? He was young. What happened? It was unexpected. I was supposed to hang out with him. What's wrong? Why did these things happen? Why does death happen? So I started to seek the truth. I thought, why do we work so hard till we're 60 and then hopefully retire and be healthy enough to still live and enjoy and do what we wanted to do 40 years ago? What's the point? And so I lived a life of regret for years. Everything I would think, I would think, I I have to do this because if I don't do it, I'll be sad that I didn't do it. I'll be mad I didn't experience life. And my dad lived till he was 61 and he didn't even get to do anything he wanted to do. So I said, screw that. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm only 19. So I started living like I was 60, and I was living like I was retired. I felt retired. I was just living like nothing else mattered but pleasure. Pleasure, and as long as I was happy, and just stay happy. Stay happy with one of these. Now, how good is that? That smile I just did to fake out people. That's what everyone does. Everyone does it's all fake. They're hurting. They're in pain. They're angry. They're confused. And they're broken. And empty. And lonely. But they cover it with a smile. Or maybe they cover it with anger and just stay angry. And they think they're happy because they go out to dinner, they go to football games and they play golf and, they have a nice home and they have a bed. They think they're happy, they think they're living, but they're really dead. Inside. Just walking dead. Lifeless. That's exactly what I was. I was lifeless. And no one would ever guess that I was lifeless. Nobody. Why? Because everywhere I would go, I would have a smile. I would tell people, live life. Life is beautiful. And these things I meant, but I didn't understand what I was doing. So I tell people, life is so short. Why would you spend your life living in unhappiness? Why don't you just do what you want? Live, enjoy, do what you want. Do whatever makes you happy. Whatever that is. And so I did whatever made me happy. Like, anything. Anything made me happy, but it was all false. It was like, I'd get a thought, and the thought would be like, I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to go to the beach. And boom, I would go to the beach. And it would be beautiful, I would be there swimming, and it was glorious, and I loved it, But then it ran out. It's like, okay, well, this is done. It's like, all right, And then I get another thought, like, oh, I'm just going to smoke some weed. Smoke some weed, feel good. Laugh a lot. But then it runs out, And it's like, okay, well, you walk around your house and, I think I'm going to go out to dinner. Go out to dinner, talk to the waiter, the waitress. You just want to talk to somebody. And then you go home and you just feel empty again. And then you get the thought, well, maybe I'll get a puppy. You get a puppy. Puppy makes you so happy for a few days, but then it starts to annoy you because you have to clean up and feed it and all these things. So your puppy runs out, and then like next week you just think, well, maybe I'll find a boyfriend. Then you find a boyfriend and you're just madly in love with this man. You're madly in love with this man, and then a few months later, you still feel empty and dead inside. Just like you have to go back to your boyfriend just to feel that love. It's like if you're separated from your boyfriend, you don't feel loved. You don't feel joy or at peace because you're away from your person. You're away from the person you love. And then it's like, okay, well, then you break up with him, and then you're like, well, maybe I like girls. And you get this thought, and then you think, well, maybe men can't do it for me, so maybe I'm a lesbian. And then you go and you be with a girl, and maybe that makes you happy for a while, but it's really a lie, because women and men were created to love men and women, not women and women, men and men. That's not the proper law. It's a lie. But you try it because you get these thoughts, and you're trying to find what love is, what makes you happy. You're trying to find, well, if a man doesn't happy, then maybe I am just gay. And So you listen to those thoughts and you go obey them, and then you figure out, no, it's definitely not what I was. And you realize it was a mistake, and then you think, well, maybe I just need a new job. You know, my job, I'm tired of my job. I've been here so long. Maybe my job I'll find a new job. So then you find a new job, and you love your new job. You're so happy. You get your waitress and you get to talk to people, but then you're just tired because people treat you terrible. They don't tip you. They're cruel, impatient. And so then you just feel terrible and you're like, well, this job's not it. There's no happiness in this job. And then you're like, well, maybe I just need a new environment. So then you move. Then you pick up and you just move. You move everything. You're like, I'm going to start new. I'm going to start fresh. I'm just going to move to a city or a state that I've never been to. And then there I'll find peace. I'll start my life. I'll find out who I am and I'll chase my dreams. And then boom. So you move. You know nobody. And it feels good. You know, no one knows me. I feel so good. I have a clean background. Nobody knows anything I've been through. I'll be accepted. And then a month goes by and you feel terrible. You miss your old friends. You know nobody in the city yet. And you just feel lonely. And you're not happy. You just feel terrible. So then you're like thinking, oh no, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. I'm moving back. And then you move back. And then you feel happy because you missed all your friends. But then after a month, it's the same thing. You still feel empty and broken and angry. You still feel angry because the world's so evil. And no matter where you go, the environment isn't love. No matter where you go, you never seem to find that environment that is what you're looking for. You're looking for a non-judgmental, loving, peaceful, kind, non-aggressive, not argumentative environment. You're looking for heaven on earth. You're looking for love, and you won't find it. You have to realize this, that you won't find it on earth. You're not going to find that perfect environment. You're not going to find that perfect work establishment. You're not going to find that human that gives you and fulfills your love no matter what, to where you don't feel empty all the time or rejected or lonely. You're not going to find it because it does not exist. It does not exist. I've searched. If you read the book of Ecclesiastes, that's how I feel. I searched everything, you guys. I tried everything out. And temporarily, yeah, it was awesome. It was great. But it was so temporary that I kept having to seek. I kept having to find more. I kept having to drink more. I kept having to smoke more weed. I kept having to find more friends. I kept having to move. Because the joy and the love died. It didn't stay. It wasn't real. And so it really wasn't until I met the God of heaven and earth and us. I met Jesus in spirit. I met him, and it was like I was just injected with this love and power that was with me everywhere I went, regardless of the environment. All this love that I was seeking in a perfect environment, I was just seeking Jesus this whole time, seeking love. But I didn't know it wasn't of this world. The love isn't from this world. The love is straight from heaven. And it could be heaven on earth if everybody was abiding in Jesus, because Jesus is perfect. There's no sin in him. And if we followed him as he promises to perfect us, we would all be walking like him. So then it would be heaven on earth. But since people are not abiding and following the law of love, there is chaos. Just like nature follows a perfect system that God created, and if it's off whack, then it's going to be chaos. Just like God, he created a law. Just like nature has a law, he created humans to follow a law of love. And if humans don't follow that law of love, there's discord, confusion, and chaos. So when I met Jesus and his love, came to live in me by his Spirit, because I was born again. His love went with me no matter what. I literally had people tell me straight to my face I was a burden. And of course I felt hurt. I felt so, so hurt. But it was like I cried out my pain, and then I was still filled with that love. I didn't just stay hurt. Or like someone could cuss me out, and I just, instead of wanting to cuss them back out, I just felt love for them. I felt like, oh, I feel so sad for you that you have all this anger in you. And they can be saying all types of curse words to me, MFing me or something, all types of bad things. And I just looked at them with love. I didn't have any anger arise in me. And this love that was in me was everywhere. So every place I went, every environment I entered, I had love. I felt love. And it wasn't because of the environment. It was because of God that dwells in me. I take God wherever I go with me. And if I'm in alignment with his heart, meaning I'm in obedience to the law of love, then I'm going to feel his love all the time. Because no matter where I go, I'm going to know that I'm loved and know that love is real. But it's not a love that you can put on an animal, in a human, or food, or alcohol, or friends. No environment is real love. The environment is your temple, which is your body. And of course you're not going to always feel love. Like, love isn't just a feeling. We have to get used to that. Love is not just a feeling. So if you don't feel love all the time, that doesn't mean Jesus left you, or it doesn't mean that you're not in obedience to Jesus. Sometimes you can feel different ways. We have emotions. God did create them. You can feel sorrow. You can feel sad. But my point is that I don't look for that perfect environment anymore. I don't look for I just want to find, why can't people just love? I work at this place, but there's one girl who just is angry and mean, and there's, I want to just leave my job and go find one where everyone's just nice and loves me. I promise you're not going to find it, because everyone has their own sins in their heart, their own pain that they need out, their own hurt. So no matter where you look, no matter where you go, how many times you move, how many beers you drink, how many blunts you smoke, how many people how many boyfriends and girlfriends you have looking for love, you're not ever gonna find a love that satisfies your soul. A love that satisfies you in the deepest, darkest moments of your life. You will not find it except in God, because his love is satisfying. You come to a state of contentness and wantonness, not wantonness, you come to this state where you don't want anything. There's a verse that says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." That's you're so perfectly content that nothing in the world you want. You don't want a new car. You don't want a new TV. You don't even want to go anywhere. You could go places, but I just mean you don't feel the need to want to do those things. Of course you can want to do things, but it's a different, rather than feeling the need to do something to make you happy. I just need a vacation. I need a break. It's when you really walk close with God and become one with his heart, you are at vacation forever. You don't need a vacation, because you're so at peace that regardless of your situation, you could be going through homelessness, you could be going through divorce, anything. Of course you should be feeling the pain from that, because that's wrong. You're going through hard times, struggling and suffering. You should feel that pain from that. But you have this this knowing that everything's going to be okay. You just do. But I encourage you to don't just cover up your pain. Stop covering up your pain with partying and other men and women and friends and playing video games and just going to see movies and going to football games all the time. Like, you may be having fun, but I'm telling you, it's literally all vain, and it's not real fun. It's not real love. I encourage you to just seek real love. Seek real love. Don't settle for lies. Don't settle for false comforts and temporary satisfactions. It's not worth it. Jesus came to give us life and abundance of it. And he said that he hopes that our joy may be full. Abundant life in the spirit, not abundant life, prosperity in the physical realm, abundant cars and abundant money. Abundant life in your spirit. All the things that make you happy right now, all your little vices, all your little desires. It's not wrong to want things and enjoy things. It's not wrong. But when it becomes a vice and you can't be happy without it, then it's just a lie. You're just living a lie and covering a longing for love, feeling the need to be stoned every day. You can't start your day without getting high. You're just masking all the pain. You're just masking it. And it's going to come out one day. I hope it does. Or your heart's just going to grow colder to all the pain that you've suffered and all the confusion that you've gone through and all the questions that you don't have answers to. You can get all those answers, you can get all those questions by just sitting at the feet of Jesus. Just sitting there in prayer and just asking him, Lord Jesus, what in the world is going on? Why in the world is this world the way it is? I really need to know. Ask him, tell him, I really need to know why this world is like this, and why I am a loner, and why I don't have anybody over at my house because I live in fear, and why I don't trust anyone. What's wrong with the world, and what's going on? Who am I? Do you know who you are? If somebody asked you, who are you? Do you know how to really answer that question? If someone said, why are you here on earth? Someone said, why are you here on earth? Do you know the answer? Love, 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 love. Jesus, open the eyes, open the eyes of this dear soul to see all the pain inside their heart. Jesus, please show this person the loneliness in the sight. Jesus, please give them ears to